Hey everybody, welcome back to BigRedEDC. Yeah, yeah, we're back again with this rust lock, guys. And the whole reason why we are is the more I've just kind of thought about the situation and what I've gone through, um, it just really kind of irks me, just a little bit. And there's several things that fall into the whole situation and that I think about. But I mean, if you guys missed it, I got this knife, this rust lock. It had terrible gapping. The blade was way off center, and I said, okay, I'm gonna test out the case warranty process, and I've got a whole playlist, guys. I'll try to link the playlist, or I'll at least link the first video, and then it just kind of goes from there. Um, but I went through this process, and the actual process of the warranty process was good. It really was, because Case kept in contact. Um, their timeline, it came back way sooner than what, their timeline. It came back, they said 6 to 8 weeks initially from the first time I contacted them. And they were, it was within, I mean, just a few days, 3 days, I think. Within 4 days, I had the knife sent off, and then it was like a week to a week and a half. From the time I first contacted them, it was about a week and a half until they acknowledged that they had the knife in hand. That's pretty good, because I have to take a part in that, because I have to get it to the mailbox, all that other good stuff, mail it off, so on and so forth. So I play a role in that. And when I finally got the email, the acknowledgement email, yep, we've got it. They said, I believe it was 4 to 6 weeks. And I got it back in about 4 weeks. That good. I won't complain about that aspect of the process at all. Now, through this, I've been documenting, and I did 3 or 4 updates, and you guys were like, man, Case should just send you a new knife. Okay, great. That would be awesome. Whatever they decide to do, so I get it back. Okay, this is the repaired. Now, if you remember, I kind of called it the final chapter. Okay, let's just look at it. Now, the blade was terribly off center. We're going to look at that. It's not bad now. I will definitely give them that. It's not bad now. The gapping is better, but I mean, there's obviously gapping there, right? This is an $85 knife, guys. $85 knife. This is after repair. This is what it looks like after repair. When it was first produced and I got it, it was much, much worse than this. Okay, and there's pictures in the videos if you want to go check it out just to see how much worse. But it was worse. Okay, if you're in the final chapter, I haven't cleaned it yet. I haven't flushed the pivot, but it's just, look at that. There's just all sorts of gunk there. They polished, or the blade or whatever. They didn't even clean it up. It looks like they polished, wiped off the blade, but that stuff gets in the pivot. Now, I know that can happen. We get knives, traditional slip joints. We have to flush the pivot sometimes. Okay, but this is warranty work. You are already doing work for somebody that is not happy, a customer that is not happy. Wouldn't you think you would go just that extra little inch to make your customer happy? Well, it didn't happen. It's much cleaner than it was. The first thing that I did notice when I opened the package is, look at the box. The box was not in this condition when I sent it to him. And it actually looks a little bit better because I had to pry it up. You can tell where it was smashed there. It actually looks a little better because I had to kind of squeeze it and open it up. But this end was kind of flattened out because they mailed it back in an envelope. I sent it to them in a priority flat rate box. Okay, case knives are supposed to be collector's knives, correct? Correct me if I'm wrong. Let me know down in the comments, please. And if you sell a product that is a collectible item, you probably know that there's a lot of your collectors out there that keep the original box and would like the original box in rather decent condition. But you mail it back to them in an envelope and it gets smashed. There again, I said in that final chapter, let me know if I'm being too harsh or whatever, and I don't think anyone disagreed with me. So if somebody does, let me know. Let me know. Because I really don't believe I'm being too harsh. Now, I am not a huge collector of case knives. I will admit that. And I will also admit that I have not had issues like this with the case knives that I do have. So when people were saying cases quality has went way down, I hadn't really had that experience until I got this rust lock. Okay, I fully admit it. I hadn't had an issue, really. I mean, yeah, some minor gapping. Okay, yeah, something like that. But I've heard some pretty bad stories. So, and then people also commented on those videos that, wow, Case really hooked me up. They did me a solid on the warranty. That's fantastic. I'm so very glad that you did. I did not have. Did they do me a solid? The knife is better. Okay, it is. It's better than what it was. Is it an $85 knife quality? No, it hasn't been. It's not now. And it's just not. It's just not. So, now another thing that plays into this, guys, is you guys know I like my Rough Riders. I don't hide that fact. I like them. They're $15 knives, and that's an expensive one. And then now there's some of them are getting into that 20, 25, depending on cover material and that type of thing. But typically, you can pick up a Rough Rider knife in between $10 and $15 all day long, and buy 100 of them, and you'll never spend more than that. Okay. Now, when I do those videos sometimes, I get the comment, Chinese crap, blah, 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 Chinese this, junk, whatever. Okay. Fair enough. Okay. This is a repaired warranty work knife. On top is a Rough Rider micarta work knife. Straight out of the box. Yep, it has a little bit of gapping. No doubt. It does. It's a $15 knife. It's still in better. It's just as good, if not better condition than this warranty worked case rust lock. Excuse me. Rough Rider bow trapper. Yep, there's a little bit of gapping there. Still, out of the box, $15-ish knife, still better than this $85 case. Let's keep going. Copper swirl. Yep, a little bit of gapping there. Absolutely. Still just as good, if not better quality. And last but not least, I only picked 4 guys because, well, I can keep going and you really don't want me to. This cinnamon bone stag. Yep, a little bit of gapping. There's a little bit of gapping in the cover there. Absolutely. Again, I think this one's a little bit more. I think this one's more like 20 or low 20s, just because of that cinnamon bone stag, if I'm not mistaken. Still, in just as good, if not better, than this warranty-worked case knife. Okay? Tell me that one of these 4 knives is worse than that knife. No. No way, because you know what? These 4 knives added up probably don't cost as much as this knife. Maybe right about the same. And they're in better, just as good, if not better condition. So, you tell me which one of these knives is the so-called junk. Is that a harsh statement? Well, it's pretty much the truth. Okay? I'm talking about this knife. I have other case knives that are in really good condition. Of these 5 knives, to me, this is the piece of junk, not these 4. Okay? That is my true belief. Now, not only because it's more expensive, but Case had 2 opportunities to make this knife right, and they didn't. The condition this knife was in when it left the factory was horrible. Horrible. Never, ever, ever should have left the case factory in that condition. Not even remotely. Okay? Now, I'm going to step it up a little. Here's a Rough Rider Reserve knife. Still, now do I hold the Rough Rider Reserves in higher regard and scrutinize them more than I do the regular Rough Rider knife? Absolutely, because this knife is supposed to compete with these knives, right? That was the whole idea. To me, that's the whole idea behind the Rough Rider Reserve 9. Now we're talking Rough Riders. We're getting into that, $60, $65, $70 range, more into the case range. Look at them. Tell me, which one is in better condition? Yep, this I scrutinized a little bit because there is some gapping in there. Now, if you're gonna start making a reserve line, that's something that you're gonna have to pay a lot more attention to than you do in these $15 knives. Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay? But when knives like this come off of a production line inside the United States, it makes me very, very sad. Okay? Now, GEC, that type of thing, that's a whole different ballgame. Okay? We're not talking about GEC right now. We're talking about Case Knives. Case Knives is one of the biggest names in U.S. made knives. Has to be. Whether it's modern, whether it's traditional slip joint, Case has to be one of the biggest names in U.S. knife production. Has to be. They've been around forever. And when they have knives like that, like this, coming off the production line, that makes me sad. It makes me very sad. Because to me, this knife can't compete with this $15 knife. It just can't. If you're going to hold to a standard, hold to a standard. Okay? It's in much worse condition. It's cost 4 to 5 times as much and is in much worse condition. Okay? I just go back to this Chinese junk. Okay, great. You know what? I wish there was a manufacturer in the United States that made knives just like this and sold them for $15. Will that ever happen? Nope. That made in USA stamp is going to double the price of that knife. It is. The quality could be exactly the same. It's going to double the price. Without a doubt. No questions asked. I believe that with every fiber of my soul. And okay, that's fine too. All right. But these companies, these US made companies are letting their quality slip. And that is allowing these other companies to basically bypass them. I had several people make comments of, I don't buy case knives unless I can get them in hand and look at them. You know what? I will never buy another case knife unless I can look at it. That's just a decision I have made. Again, I don't collect a lot of case knives. I have to be honest about that. I don't. But I've seen some case knives out there that I'm like, oh, I should get that one. I should get it. I bought a couple off of, from friends, off of the Facebook groups and stuff like that. You know what? I'm not going to do that anymore. Not unless I can get it in hand and believe that it's the quality that it should be for the price I'm paying. That's me. That's my thought. I'd rather buy these 4 Rough Riders that I showed you before instead of one of those. Without even batting an eye. And I'm not going to stop buying Rough Riders. And the other thing about Rough Riders is If I get a bad one, I've had one. I've bought a bunch. You guys know I have bought a bunch of Rough Riders. A lot. I've had one that I had an issue with. That I felt was, they're $15, okay? But I still felt that it just wasn't, $15? Is there a lot of standard there? Well, I didn't feel it measured up. So what did I do? I called Smoky Mountain Knife Works because that's where I got it from. I said, hey, this is my issue with this knife. You know what Smoky Mountain Knife Works did? Okay, we'll send you a new one. Did they do that because it's only a $15 knife? Maybe. Did they do that because they want to make their customers happy? Maybe. Maybe it's a combination of both. Maybe there's a 10 different reasons why they did it. I gave Case the opportunity to make this right. And they didn't. They did. They made it better. They didn't make it right. That's my thought and my thoughts on this subject. So, there you go, guys. I'm sorry this was kind of a rant, and I'm sure that's going to be in the title somewhere. But, you know, if you're going to tell me Chinese junk on these other knives and then U.S. companies put out knives like this, come on. Really? It doesn't stand up. It just doesn't. I'm sorry. It can't even compare. And I just showed you that it can't compare. Now, is every Case knife like this? Nope, probably not. Nope. Is every Rough Rider knife like the ones I show you? Nope, probably not. But Rough Rider doesn't try to stand out, I guess is the best word I can use, like Case knives do or should in my mind. Now the Rough Rider Reserve, okay, we're talking, that's a little bit different ballgame. They are trying to stand out. They're trying to compete with these. They're trying to compete with the GECs and the Case knives. Yes, they better be to that standard, or I'm gonna say something. I mean, we as reviewers should, you as consumers should say something. Because you deserve better. And I tell you what, guys, you deserve better than that. I deserve better. You deserve better. And that's just pretty much all there is to it. Really appreciate you guys hanging out and listening to me. Kind of go off, if you will. Yeah, I feel much better now. I got that out. It's out of my system. I was kind of building up. And yeah, I feel better now. So let me know down in the comments. If you don't agree with me, fine. That's cool. Let me know. I won't get mad. You know? Now, if you're a jackwagon in the comments, yeah, okay. It'll probably get deleted. Or I'll just say, okay, dude, whatever. You know? We can have this conversation and it can be civil. Because I've had a conversation where it wasn't civil when I was talking about this same issue with Gerber knives. So, yet another American company that just kind of, and yep. So, anyway, guys, thank you very much. I've ranted long enough. Always appreciate you guys. Much love and appreciation. Remember to like, subscribe, leave me that comment. You know I love talking to you, and I would love to talk to you about this subject. Till next time, guys. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye-bye.